Born in a country of magnitude and splendor, tossed between two worlds, and burrowed beneath the echo of despair, this is Aidan's story. My beautiful baby boy was born into a world of darkness on May 14th, 2007. He was perfect, created in God's image, precious and more valuable than gold. But Aidan was born completely blind. The room was initially filled with an abundance of joy over his arrival. They bathed him, swaddled him in a snug, warm blanket, and handed him to a mother who was overflowing with love for her new baby boy. She held him close and thanked the Lord for her perfect son. I can only imagine this because I was not there. I have wished for a joyous entry into the world for my boy, a happy one, the one he deserved. But sadly, my imagined story of his birth is simply not the reality that unfolded on that day. There was no fanfare or excitement in the room. He lay alone in a Soviet-era hospital while his screams echoed down the corridor to blind ears. His mother, in fact, did not even lay eyes on her perfect baby boy. From the moment he was born, he was quickly whisked away. His mother was told that there was something wrong with her baby and that he should be sent away. With her body writhing from withdrawals and anxious to leave, she agreed and returned to the streets, simply leaving him behind, sentencing her little boy to a life of loneliness, abuse, and neglect at the hands of a broken system. My precious little boy was then sent to an orphanage where he embarked on the fight of his life. Blind and defenseless, he was kept in a crib for a vast portion of his days. He had very little human contact and was left to his own devices. Over time, his loneliness and forced isolation caused him to self-injure, rock his head uncontrollably, and to trust no one. As the years droned on, his mental and physical health took an irreversible turn for the worse. No one ever spoke to him, so he never learned the power of speech. No one ever held him close, so he never learned the healing powers of human touch. Without any sight and no visual way of mental stimulation, he fell further and further into himself. No one ever came when he cried, so he simply learned not to, no matter how much he may have been hurting. But God never left Aidan. He had a plan bigger than such a tiny little boy could ever dream. When Aidan was 6 years old, my husband and I saw his picture on a website called Reese's Rainbow. And we knew, without a doubt, that God intended for him to be our son. And so began Aidan's miraculous renewal and journey to being forever loved, adored, and valued. God never promised the road to adopting Aidan would be easy. Believe me, it wasn't. There were many tears and bumps along the way. But adoption is the very definition of redemption. This little boy desperately needed his mama. After nearly a year of constant paperwork, we were approved to travel to Eastern Europe, where we would meet our tiny little angel. When we arrived at his orphanage, he was so frail and skin and bones. He weighed only 23 pounds at the age of 6 and was easily the size of a small 2-year-old. He was skittish and he didn't care for being touched or held, but I held him anyway. On January 6, 2014, we took our boy out of the orphanage forever and embarked on the long journey home where God would continue to heal and love our little boy from across the seas. Aidan is light. Aidan is pure and genuine joy. Aidan is innocence. Aidan is loved. Forever redeemed. Forever a son. Forever adored. And an orphan. No more.